Okay. So one of the problems that we face is that if there are two threads which are running, let's say two processes are running, okay, if they write the data at the same time, they can corrupt each other's data. Correct. So if two processes or two threads, let's say thread 1 and thread 2, they are writing a data at the same time at a same location, they can corrupt the data. So can we do one thing, that at a time only one CPU is working? So nowadays the CPUs are fast, so we can do that. So process 1 is working for, okay, then once process 1 is complete, then we do process 2. Once process 2 is complete, then we do process 3. Correct? We can do this. Then there is, like, we don't have to go through all this problems of locking, unlocking. It will go one after another, and the problem will be like not very difficult. Correct? But there are bottlenecks on this. So first bottleneck is obviously CPU, but we are assuming that the CPU is extremely fast. Okay, the second bottleneck is disk. So like we know, the disk looks something like this, okay, and it's extremely slow. So for one process you write, okay, and the disk, let's say it takes 1 second, so your thread had to have to wait for 1 second. Correct? Which is not very nice. Second is, let's say this is your application, okay, and your disk is inside some node, okay. So your application makes some changes and sends to this particular node, and the network is like extremely slow, okay. So first one was this disk can be slow, second thing is this network can be slow, and third thing is obviously sleep CPU needs to be very fast. So the CPU needs to be very fast. So these three are the bottlenecks. How many things we can solve? So by money we can solve the CPU problem, buy expensive CPU. This network problem, obviously you can get a better internet, but there is a better way. What if, let me draw one picture and then tell you. Let's say we are sending this query, like select star whose mark, like select everything whose mark is equals to 100 or like greater than equals to 100, okay. So selecting this whole query in a network is extremely slow. Or let's say even bigger, add a person whose name is Ashish, mark equals to 200, employee ID equals to 1234. Sending this whole query is extremely expensive. So what we can do, in the database node, we can mention one function like uh, like this, get name comma 100. So if there is a function whose which is get name, and we are just sending argument as 100, then this whole query will run inside the database. Or add employee and then Ashish comma 200 comma 1234. Okay, so now how can we minimize this? So let's say we told that this get name function is marked as 1, okay, and add employee is marked as 2. So from the application node you just have to send 1 1 comma 100, okay. This will go to database will match like what is 1 is equals to get name, and get name equals to select star, like select everything whose marks are is like greater than 100, okay. So you don't have to send the whole characters, you just have to send this thing, okay. And similarly you just have to, like, for adding one employee you just have to like send 2 comma Ashish comma 200 comma 1234. You don't have to send all this thing. So this is maximum like two integers, like it is extremely small data which you are sending inside the network. Correct? So even if the network is slow, uh, you are not bottlenecked by it. Like you will be obviously bottlenecked, but uh, you are sending very less amount of data, and it will like cost you less amount of time. So that is the solution number one for speeding up the network. Okay, like optimizing the like optimizing for the network. Okay, now the second problem is disk. So hard disk is extremely slow. So you can either use SSD or you can directly use RAM where you are writing it. But obviously, as soon as power goes off, RAM's data disappears, you can directly use SSD. Okay, thanks. Now, this is little bit of off topic, which I have learned in my working experience. Okay, so there is a company named Vast. Okay, so what Vast does, it's a distributed storage solution. Okay, so Vast is like distributed storage solution, which is working on SSDs. Okay, now there is a limitation with SSD that one SSD can only write n number of times. So let's say this is an SSD. Okay, this SSD can only, let's say, write 1000 times. Once it is written 1000 times, now it cannot like work properly. Okay, I don't know the exact uh, theory why this happens, but this is an electronic device, and like once 1000 writes are done, this SSD is basically useless. Okay, so what they do, it's an amazing, like it's very top view what I'm going to say. Okay, so let's see. Each SSD is of 128 GB. Okay, so it is of 128 GB. I'm just taking example. Okay, and this RAM is like, let's say, 2 GB. Okay, so writer or the client will like first write on inside the RAM. Okay, let's say when the RAM is full, when the RAM is nearly 2 GB, okay, it will put everything in a hard disk. It can do it in background, so client is not getting affected by the slow speed of the hard disk. It will push every changes in RAM. As soon as RAM is like filled with 2 GB, it will send everything hard disk, and this hard disk is also, let's say, 128 GB. Okay, now when the hard disk is full, then it will push everything inside the SSD. So by this way, what you are doing, that you are minimizing the total number of writes inside the SSD, rather than like, let's say there is one SSD inside. Okay, and you just have to edit one value, which is Akash equals to 1. Okay, for that you are doing an whole one write operation inside this SSD, and you are just, let's say you can only use this SSD for 1000 times, you are making it 199 just for one write, which is senseless, right? And SSDs are so expensive. Better, what you can do, you can put the whole data inside the hard disk. Okay, now in RAM you made the changes, background, in background RAM made the changes in hard disk. Okay, and once like the total amount of changes, which is equals to 128 GB, then it will flush the whole data inside the SSD. This way you are like minimizing the number of writes inside an SSD. So this is like how you can like speed up your writes. Just saying, these are the different kind of solutions. Okay, cool. This was little bit of off topic, but I think this knowledge is good. Thank you.